Honestly, I'm gonna spoil this movie, so if you don't want spoilers, then leave. Hey guys, Runtime HD here, and welcome back to Off the Shelf. This week, what we found off the shelf was...
You know, I'd always hoped that right before I died, my life would flash before my eyes, and I would see wonderful things. But as I was hanging up there, I didn't really see much of anything. But I did see you. We sang, and we danced, and it was beautiful.
Was Swiss Army Man, directed and written by the Daniels. It is their first feature-length film, and if you didn't know, they also made Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a great film. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. But anyway, this film also is starring Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe. Obviously, you know who Daniel Radcliffe is, but Paul Dano was the Riddler in the Batman, if you didn't know that. You probably did, but just clarifying. This is not my words, this is the words of the directors themselves. A fart dramedy. That is the genre of this film, and it just proves to me that the film community is truly one of a kind. I mean, alongside the music and video game community, you can only create shit with that kind of ridiculous genre name and get away with it. Like, if this was any other community, you would be laughed at out of the building. You know what I mean? If you, like, walked into a building and you got a mic and you're just like, introducing the new fart dramedy, like, you can't do that. You know, but with movies, you can. Kind of. It has, like, a thin line, but you can with movies. Mainly. But I just think it's really funny. Honestly, in my opinion, I think this film's kind of like... it's a bit of like a comedy. I do think it's a dramedy, but I feel like it's more of a drama, like comedic, maybe like kind of psychological a little bit. Maybe not horror, just like a bit of a psychological film that gets in your head. You know, it makes you think, makes you question things, like what's going on. You know, that's kind of what it's like. It's also like a buddy movie. You know, it's a buddy movie, so... because it's about Daniel Radcliffe as the corpse and Paul Dano as a depressed, suicidal, crazy person. Well, maybe he's crazy. I don't even really know. Because the end of the movie just gives me even more questions. Honestly, I'm going to spoil this movie, so if you don't want spoilers, then leave. But I really need to get into spoilers to talk about how fucking weird this movie is. Like, at the beginning of the movie, Paul Dano's going to kill himself. Because he's, like, been alone on an island for a while. He's, like... well, he's been on that island, who knows. And Daniel Radcliffe's body washes up on the island. And then some stuff happens, and then he uses Daniel Radcliffe's farts to jet ski him to another place. Literally, he rides him like a jet ski to land. That is just a taste of what you're going to get in this film. And it just gets more ridiculous from there. And honestly, I don't know if the ridiculousness helps the movie. I mean, it definitely makes it fun. Like, it's a lot of fun, but I don't know if I hate it or I love it. Like, it's really... I'm really conflicted with the weird shit in this movie. Because, like, their other movie that I seen in the theater... like, that weirdness was kind of justified, because it was, like, multiverse, and it was, you know, in space, and it had all the sci-fi shit, but this movie is just so fucking weird. It was definitely not what I was expecting. I was expecting this guy to be, like, stranded on, like, in the forest or somewhere, and he was just gonna talk to a body, right? And that's kind of what happened, but not really, because he's trying to get home, and he's like teaching Daniel Radcliffe's corpse like reason on why to live, why he should live, and reasons to not kill himself. And it's like the contradictions because he's suicidal and he hates his life. And like Daniel, that's Paul Dano, by the way. Paul Dano's suicidal and he hates himself, and he's like not, and also like it's just so confusing, man. The ending really just kind of gives you more questions than answers, because you think it gives you answers, because earlier on in the movie, Paul Dano is basically using Daniel Radcliffe's corpse as like a doll to do shit. Like he's like moving his body around and he's doing all that. And he's built like a camp, like a fake car, like that was made out of a golf cart. He made a camp, he made a cafe, he did all this shit. And so then at the end of the movie, he gets out of the forest with Daniel Radcliffe's body, and he dies. Daniel Radcliffe, like, dies even though he's already dead, maybe. Like, and then they call the cops, and then Paul Dano gets mad because they're gonna just put Daniel Radcliffe's body in a morgue, and they're gonna do all this shit to him because he's like unrecognized. They don't, like, nobody recognizes him. Nobody knows who he is. You know, like a nameless bridge jumper. You know, that's kind of how the cops say he's like a bridge jumper. And well, he's upset because he became friends with Daniel Radcliffe's body, and Daniel Radcliffe taught him a lesson in the movie. He taught him to be himself, right? The corpse told him to be himself. He taught him an important life lesson. So basically, I think the really interesting part is it's a guy who killed himself, who found a guy who was suicidal, and gave him a reason to live. Like, that is pretty, I like that. I kind of like that idea. And it's executed pretty decently, I think, in this film. And they become friends, because I don't, honestly, I don't know if Paul Dano's imagining this, if Daniel Radcliffe is actually alive. I'm not sure. Like, the movie does not, like, at the end of the movie, you see, it's actually because there's also this girl that Paul Dano saw on the bus, and he's, like, stalking her, pretty much. Like, he took a picture of her, and he had, like, tons of pictures of her. He looked at her Instagram, and he was basically just kind of cyber-stalking her, like, watching her social media, and she had a husband and a daughter. So it's then revealed that everything that was said to be in, like, the middle of the forest somewhere was actually in her backyard. So then you think, well, maybe Paul Dano was just in a delusion, and he was just crazy, and this body washed on shore, and the whole opening of the film didn't even happen. He found this body of a guy who killed himself, then he decided to bring him into his own delusions. But then, at the end of the movie, it throws all that into the garbage, and fucking Daniel Radcliffe fart jet skis into the sunset. And it's like, okay, what is reality anymore? And, like, it's real. Like, the people acknowledge it. The news guy records it. And it's like, did that happen or not? What is this? Like, it confused the shit out of me, because it revealed that Daniel Radcliffe might have actually been alive. He might have actually had fart magic. Like, fart magic. Daniel Radcliffe has fart magic in this movie. Just let that sink in. Fart magic. That just shows you that these directors have some ideas. Some strange ideas. I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. It's so weird. Like, if somebody asked me, hey, what's Swiss Army Man about? You know, it's about a guy finding a meaning to live. Actually, it's really just about a guy finding a reason to live. That's kind of the simple way to describe it. But if I wanted to tell you, like, piece by piece what happens in the movie, it'd be like 50% of it would just be really crazy, like, zany shit. Like he can have flame farts. It's, he can shoot Mentos and shit out of his mouth like he's a gun. He can karate chop things in half with his legs and his arms. He can do a bunch of shit, and it's weird. But I don't know, man. It's like, I feel like this is I feel like a fart dramedy is a bit of a specific niche. But I feel like the movie blends drama and comedy pretty well. Because you can take the movie seriously one second and then be laughing the other. The Daniels are great at that part because they're great at making you care, you know? They're great at making the characters feel like people. Like, you know, you want to root for these people. You want them to succeed. Like, they're really good at writing characters that you want to see succeed. And same thing for Everything Everywhere All at Once as well. Same thing for that. Maybe more. But this movie definitely, I cared about the main character. I cared about Paul Dano. And it was just, like, really, really strange yet engaging. Like, it's strangely engaging, you know? Like, for a movie categorized as fart dramedy, it was pretty engaging. It was pretty engaging. And I'd recommend it, but it's just watch it and form your own opinion. All right, just watch it and form your own opinion, and actually go down in the comments, watch this movie, and you know, did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know down in the comments. So you know, I think I'd rate this film like maybe a 7.5 out of 10. 7.5. I don't want to give it an 8. I think that's too much, but I think a 7 is too low. So I think a 7.5 is a good little, like, intermediate. But, I like this movie, and I would recommend it. But, yeah. I've said my piece. I gave my rating. So, you know, you guys, I hope you like this video. Hope you share with your friends, subscribe, turn those notifications on, answer that question down in the comments. And I've been Ronan Time HD, and signing off.